Hello. Hi. Welcome to my studio, and I hope that you're having a great day. Today's stream is sponsored by Cinnabon. That's completely false. I haven't eaten at Cinnabon in many years. It's good though, and it's an important part of the Better Call Saul franchise. So that's what I got to say about that. Let's check out what you guys have been working on this week instead of talking about Cinnabon, because now I want Cinnabon. Oh, I forgot to drag the songs over. One sec. Also, my body is feeling much better these days. Thanks for asking. I am not feeling nearly as broken as I was 2 weeks ago, and certainly much better than I felt like 5 weeks ago. So, ran a 5K in 21 minutes and 26 seconds. Congratulations. I'm assuming that's a good time. I don't run, I bike. And when I bike into trees, you know what I'm saying? Okay, let's see what you guys have been working on this week, and I'll see how creative I can get in the art of shitting on your mixes creatively and constructively. I can already tell that this track by Swiss Cheese has a drum loop intro with what appears to be probably a low pass filter opening up slowly as we get to the main section of the song. Let's have a listen and see how far off I am. Okay, I actually don't mind this intro. I think that with some more ear candy stuff, little zips and zaps and effects and just little things to just make it a bit more lifelike, as opposed to just kind of like giving us the drum. The drums sound good. The plucky chordy thing is I like it. I like this intro actually. I just think that with maybe a bit of a psh at the start and maybe some like cha 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 cha, like some stuff to give it some drama and some intrigue, I think would help out a lot. Let's keep going. And let me check out my master bus because I forgot to do that. Like, maybe you could tease that womp. Maybe you could tease that in some sort of subdued way at the start, you know? Okay, this is interesting. I don't necessarily dislike where this is going, but I think the fact that you still have the hi-hat thing going in the same kind of way that it was going before, it makes it feel like it feels like a loss in energy. I know what you're kind of going for here. This is supposed to be like, now we're like deep in it, right? But this has less energy than this. And because we still have that thing exactly the same as we had here, it makes me almost like compare the two sections directly to each other. And there's just kind of less stuff in this section. So I feel like you need to figure out a way of having this section be more like okay, now we're here. If that's what it's supposed to be doing. I feel like this is kind of like the main drop moment, like the, okay, now we're there sort of thing. But it kind of falls a little short because um, it just doesn't deliver enough impact, and not necessarily impact in terms of like an impact sound, but like there's not like enough of a, oh, hell yeah, there we go. And again, with the low pass thing here, if you think about this in terms of energy again, you got like your low pass opening up, and then we're excited, but now the low pass sound feels like it's gonna start opening up again. So we kind of like built up to a build up, which is generally not advisable. There's a lot of really cool stuff happening though. I like these individual sections. I think the way that they're being structured together or leading into each other is maybe my biggest complaint. Another thing is you've got like this really deep sub bass, and if you ignore the sub bass, the rest of the track doesn't really have any, like the kick is very subdued. It doesn't really have much sub or really loudness for that matter. So if you ignore, like if you muted your sub bass and listen to the track, it would be a lot quieter, and it would be there wouldn't really be much energy down in that bottom end. So I think getting a kick that more closely matches the sub bass's energy would probably work better. Yeah, and again, you can visually see this. I mean, like where's a kick on its own? Do we have one? Well, we don't, but you can see how thick and juicy this sub bass right here. So you can really see like that sub bass really kicks it up when it's there, but when it's not there, there's not really a whole lot of volume. I mean, look at this. You know what I mean? And so the quick fix is to probably turn the sub bass down a little bit and bring the kick drum a bit more up front, in maybe not necessarily just in terms of volume, but in energy. So maybe compressing it or distorting it, or maybe a different kick drum altogether, or just turning it up or EQing it or something. But you've got this kind of like little kick, you got this big sub bass. And I think that it could be a little bit more closely related. What's up, Drop Up? My neck is much better than it was weeks ago. I can do this. Like, this is incredible. It hurts, but I can do it. So that's progress. Especially the section right here. I mean, like, the sub bass is just, it's like it didn't get the memo that we're in a breakdown section, you know? I can headbang a little bit. I'm probably not going to go too hard because I don't want to mess myself up more than I already am. Also, I really like the guitar thing, but it's kind of being used as a background element. I don't know. I feel like it could be more up front. I kind of feel like maybe you can do a breakdown like this, but it just kind of happened. There was no fanfare around it. There was no kind of big whoosh or impact or anything. It just kind of like, it feels like the bottom fell out of the track, you know, like all of the energy has gone away at this point, but it just kind of went away. It wasn't like, it doesn't sound super intentional, I guess. You could maybe even try keeping like a hi-hat loop going, or keep some sort of percussion. I feel like I feel like this breakdown is just a little too broken down, you know? But I like the reverse guitar sounding thing. These are a lot of elements that you could tease in the intro, you know? Like your intro is so peeled back, you have lots of room to drop some hints as to what's going to happen in the track. It's like introducing some of these elements in like a teasy foreshadowing kind of way, right? Let's keep going. Oopsies, deleted it. Yeah, I think you might just be okay bringing your sub bass down. Whatever that effect was kind of sounds out of key. Like it's kind of a white noise style effect, but it has a tone to it. It's like, nah, it's not, it sounds like it's playing a note that's not in the key of the song. Please do not ever send me anything with any sort of topical TikTok related vocal samples in it. I will hate it. If anybody sent in a thing that had a Hawk Tuah sample in it, I would just not enjoy any of it, even if it was really good besides the Hawk Tuah. I hate when people just like hop on pertinent TikTok trends, you know? Ugh. You hear the difference? I mean, like, basically what I'm doing is I'm compressing the shit out of the sub bass to try or the sub range to try to get that sub bass down so that I can then bring this master limiter down further and get everything louder. And the track just sounds like it's like a lot more full of life and vigor. See, like, people say her net worth is 12 million, but people also said she was an elementary school teacher, and that turned out to not be true. So, like, do you really believe that she's worth $12 million? Or is that just another thing that is going to turn out to not be true? I just don't follow any of that shit because why the fuck does it matter, you know? So yeah, I guess overall, I would say spice up your intro a bit, turn your sub bass down and try to get the kick and sub bass so that they're working together in a more equal capacity. When this drops out, it's a little disappointing. This breakdown to me is a bit too broken down. Tuning in Tuah Fowlers, that's funny. The guitar thing could be more upfront. I do think that, like, this is something I think you struggle with is, like, dedicating a melody. Like, this is the melody. You're kind of, like, flirting with a bunch of melodies, but you haven't committed to a specific melody or motif. It's more about the chords, and you know that's not necessarily a problem, but I think you've got lots of cool melodic ideas in here. You're not committing to any of them. You're just kind of like tickling them a little bit. But yeah, overall sounds good. It's very progressive. And like the groove is good. It's good. It's one of the better ones you've sent in, I would say. Okay, cool. Let's move on. Aiden Dodge, I'll never be ready. future collab with DJ Alo. Let me make sure I'm not railing it with this. Oh, look at that. Look at that little 4 dB. Huh. Thank you, Ishfaq Rubab. I'm sorry. I'm sure I probably butchered your name. All right, let's have a listen. Sounded like you said founded on eBay, which is actually pretty dope. I found this on eBay. You've got some clipping on the master. Let me just, before I commit to that statement, let's just 100,000% make sure that that's not a me doing. No, yeah, there's clipping. You can hear it like crunchy on the sides.
I'm willing to accept that I am not the one for you. I have so many regrets about what I should have said to you. I will always remember the greatest moments that we had. When I look back at the memories of us, I'll just be glad that I left you in a way that didn't hurt you so bad. 'Cause deep down in my heart, it is so sad. I know that I'll never be ready.
This is pretty good, honestly. I dig the vocals. These are you're getting better at the singing. I'm glad that you are singing and focusing on the singing. I think the singing is a good is a strength of yours, and the rapping is maybe something to work away at. And that's just my opinion, but that's what I think. In terms of songwriting, the only thing I have to pick at is
I know that.
You can send a wave, yeah. Hold on.
It is so sad.
The only thing is so sad. I don't know. I don't know if I'm sold on the word so sad. I think that's almost a little too, nah. I don't know. It's not like, yes, Kaidi, you can send a track. How many tracks do we got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Yeah, we got room for 6 more, so no worries. It's not a deal breaker, but when I was listening to the track, I was specifically listening to the lyrics, which I can understand, which is great. I love that. And I think when it got to It's So Sad, that stuck out to me as just not being an incredible line. It didn't kick me out. It's not terrible, and it could probably work, but I think you could do better for that line.
It is so sad, I know that I'll never be ready. I'll never be ready for you. I'll never.
I think you're maybe overcooking the reverb on some of the drums like that. I get the idea of the big whoosh clap thing, but I don't know. It feels a little washed out.
That I'll never be ready. I'll never be ready for you. I'll never be ready. I'll never be ready for you. I'll never be ready. I'll never be ready.
Carbite, can you explain to me why you say cue all? You say it all the time, and every time I see it, I'm like, I should ask them what that means. You upload it by going to... Oh, that's the wrong thing. I always click the wrong thing. Mother... I wish I knew how to move things on my own stream. Hold on a sec. Sorry, I'm trying to... No. It's called... Why? What is this thing that I'm trying to move? I got too many layers on this. Display capture, black. Where's the text? Oh, here we go. There, this thing. This is how you submit your tracks. It says submit your tracks at the bottom of the screen, and then it has a link that you can't click, so you're gonna have to type it in. And I'm sorry, and I'd like to say that I'd fix it, but I know I'm probably never going to fix it. So that you're just gonna have to put up with it. Okay, so let's get back to the track. I agree with Drop Pop on the harmonies. I also think that the vocals, they sound good, but like they are a little thin. They kind of feel a little, I don't know. they sound time stretched or something, or maybe like I'm still having this issue with the vocals you send in where they sound like they've been time stretched or something. And I know you had used RX11 or there's something that you use. It just sounds, I don't think it's your mic. It sounds digitally, like it sounds fucked with digitally.
It's deep down in my heart. It is so sad. I know that I'll never be ready. I'll never be ready for you. I'll never be ready.
So this is a great chorus, like vocally, this is a great chorus. I do think I think that could have harmonies on it. I also think the production didn't really change quite enough to like slap me in the face and tell me that we're in the chorus, you know? There's some changes.
That I left you in a way that didn't hurt you so bad. It's deep down in my heart. It is so sad. I know that I'll never be ready.
You know, I just kind of feel like you went back to what we had before the chorus, but now you're doing the chorus. So to me, the track should have some sort of change. It should have some sort of, you know, it's crazy how an $800 plugin can screw with your vocals like this. Well, it's kind of like buying a $5,000 oven and then using it wrong and being like, damn it, this $5,000 oven ain't making my steaks right, you know? Like, I think you're maybe just being a little heavy-handed with the RX11 or whichever RX you're using. Like, I don't know if you're trying to do noise cancellation or something. It's pretty magical, but there are limits to what it can and can't fix. And maybe you're trying to fix some unfixable things. I don't know what you're doing. I just know that your vocals in the past few tracks that you've submitted sound very digitally altered. They sound like they've been maybe ripped off of another song. I know they're not, but I'm just saying they sound like they've been like extracted or time stretched or pitch shifted or something. They just sound like phasey or phase lock loop. I don't know. Anyway, that's what I think. But I think the performance is good. This is honestly a great chorus.
I'll never be ready. I'll never be ready for you.
Water by Tyler was a reference for this track, and the chorus instrumental didn't change a lot. That's great for Water by Tyler. I don't give a fuck. This is what I think about your track. And you can choose to ignore my advice. Please do if you disagree with it. I'm just saying that the chorus sounds great, but there wasn't enough of a lift or a change in the instrumentation to support how good the chorus was.
Be ready for you. I'll never be ready. I'll never be ready for you. I'll never be ready. I'll never be ready for you.
I'm not sold on this section. I get the idea behind it, but I'm not really sold on the melody. I'd like the melody is okay, but the synth is honestly a little like almost annoying.
Be ready for you.
And when you combine it with like the reverb, the washed out drums, the kind of muddy like bling, like I like that sound. All of it just kind of feels a bit messy at this point. Like I don't necessarily dislike any of the music. I think it's just the sounds that are happening right now almost get on my nerves a little bit.
And I do not know why, but I cannot.
I'd probably drop out the shaker here, especially because it's been going for a while.
And I do not know why, but I cannot get you off of mine. I cannot get you off of mine.
Yeah, I'd strip this. I think this part would be way better with just like simplify it right down. This is the type of track that you can get away with having, you know, not too many elements. You have a few really good elements, and you're very picky and strategic about when you bring them in and when you take them out, right? I think this, if you stripped it out to just kind of like your chord, the kick, and the vocal for a while, I think that would be dope. It's a little more intimate. It's a little more, emotional. And then you start bringing the groove back in, getting us ready for the chorus again.
Been so hard to find. I will always remember the greatest moments that we had. When I look back at the memories of us, I'll just be glad that I left you in a way that didn't hurt you so bad. It's deep down in my heart, it is so.
I'm not a good person to ask about genres. I don't really know genres, but I like the track. I mean, like, I think with some tweaking, this could be a really good track, and the vocals specifically are really good in this one.
That I'll never be ready. I'll never.
Having harmonies on this would be so good. That maybe that's mostly what could change in the chorus. You know, maybe just bringing harmonies in on the vocals. I still think the instrumentation should have some sort of switch up. It feels too similar to the verse to make it feel important like the chorus, right? But I think bringing in like a 2 or 3 part harmony on top of the chorus vocals would be huge.
I'll never be ready.
I hear ready. I kind of hear
I'll never be ready.
I'll never be ready. I hear the harmony, but it's like it to me it almost sounds like you might have made that. I don't know. It doesn't. Now that you pointed it out, I can kind of hear it, but I didn't even realize it was there to begin with. So I would say it's too subtle.
Be ready. I'll never be ready for you. I'll never be ready. I'll never be ready for you.
You got to be careful with these like I don't know, marimba kind of sounds and the piano sounds. There's a lot of energy in the low mids and they pile up and they hit your master limiter, and then you get the crunchiness, and the crunchiness is like sticks out like a sore thumb because there's no bright energy in that sound. So any sort of high-end distortion is going to stick out like a sore thumb. There's nothing to mask it, right? So you can see when you play these, it's getting real close, and every time this waveform hits this, we're getting a little high frequency sound, because what we're having is, you know, instead I guess we're going to use this as paint. Anyway, instead of a nice, you know, smooth waveform, we're getting this chopped off waveform. And right here, that's a very abrupt change. And right here is a very abrupt change, and that creates high frequency harmonics. Now, if there's a whole bunch of high frequency sound there, you might not notice it. But because this sound is very dull or very low mid heavy, we really hear that clipping. That also, is this like a sample or something? I almost hear like the start of a sample click. Hear that like very sharp. You can actually see it. See that straight up line in over on the spectrogram, or the whatever it's called. You can see what looks to be a poorly cut audio sample. See, it's not there, but it's both of those. There's a sample. So I'm assuming that the chord bling thing is a sample. So be careful with your audio waveforms. This is like how you CSI, you know, you're like, oh, that person didn't play that, they used a sample, because you see things like that. You know what I mean? So you gotta be a little more careful with the cutting. Yeah, fade at the start, or maybe bring the sample back a little ways and then fade in before the thing happens, but whatever. Microfade. Sure. That's cool. That makes sense.
I'll never be ready.
You know what this kind of reminds me of? Oh man, am I gonna be able to find it? Down Low? Was it called Down Low? Yeah. this track from years. I wrote this at the same writer's camp that we wrote Anyway and Suspicious, those two Monster Cat releases.
I know you very well, babe. You're close enough to touch. Oh, no.
5'3", but her attitude 6'8". Think she related to Beyonce, at least her friends say. I'm troubled, just leave me alone. I only flex when I get in the zone. Yeah, you don't know. No labels, commitments, no strings attached. Whenever she want it, she get it, goddamn.
Now I'm kinda catching feels, babe. Maybe I drank too much. Should save this shit for someone who actually gives a fuck. Love's only in movies. No, it's not meant for us. I'm getting tired of playing these games. You're a bad habit that I need a break. Taking me higher just for a night. We're on the down low.
Yeah, it was a cool track. We just never ended up finishing it. I have hundreds of these tracks that just never ended up getting finished. Anyway, yeah, this section with the rapper, I think, is what reminded me, or where you were gonna put the rapper. Sorry, here. I think having a rap section would be cool.
I'll never be ready for you. Ready for you. I'll never be ready. I'll never.
I do think that you've washed out your drums a bit too much with the reverb. That shaker, the shaker loop that's in there is, I don't know. I like what it's doing, but I don't necessarily love the way it sounds. It just kind of like sounds a little too lo-fi, but like not lo-fi enough to be like, oh, that's a lo-fi sound, you know? It's just kind of like somewhere in between something that's supposed to sound like good and something that's supposed to sound bad. It's just a little kind of gray sounding, if that makes any sense, but
Ready for you. I'm ready.
yeah.
Ready for you.
Anyway, the song is great. The song itself, if we just ignore all the production and recording and everything, the song's good. I like the song. I think that pretty much covers it. But good job. Keep going. All right. Felix Archive. Someone. 18th of October in parentheses.
I see you put on that lip gloss. Put your hair back in that slick knot. This time for real, I feel it, yeah. I would never use a sick nut. It would be the biggest thing I ever lost. With you, I would never get divorced. That's because I.
This is cool. It's sexy. It makes me feel like I'm like in Brazil driving in a car that doesn't work quite right. So far, I think it's good. I think that it needs more like sub bass, like 808, like bombastic bomb. Like it has some every once in a while.
I see you put on that lip gloss. This time for real.
But it kind of feels, it doesn't have a whole lot of low end. And I understand that, you know, like sometimes you want to use the sub bass sparingly and just kind of have it empty down there and then hit us with the big bomb. But I feel like the big bomb hits aren't happening frequently enough to make the track have a lot of weight. It's mostly just kind of feels like low, mid, and up. And then every once in a while we'll get like we'll get a little jolt of sub energy.
With you, I would never get divorced. That's because I see you.
Okay, here's where you do it. Let me do this. You scroll down and you go to production feedback or feedback stream. And then there's feedback stream October 18th. And then you drop it in here. Oh, I see. Never mind. Hold on. I guess you can't see what I'm doing. Scroll down right here. Feedback stream October 18th. Okay, let's keep going.
With you, I would never get divorced. That's because I.
See, like right here, this is a super cool section, and then we get that bomb. We get the 808 hit, right? So that feels cool, but then I feel like we go too long without having any sort of sub hit.
With you, I would never get divorced. That's because I see you like a beam of fire. See you like.
And then when you hit this note, it just doesn't really have much depth to it. It's just kind of, you know, like it doesn't really hit me in the chest. No, you can go to the Discord and submit your track.
Like lightning, all the things that we do. I need someone. A shiny ring, do everything to keep you. It's frightening.
I don't know, maybe just keep playing that same note on the sub bass when, you know, because it's specifically when you go up to this other note, it just doesn't, it's not deep enough. It doesn't make my titties shake.
It's for someone like yourself. How do you perceive it? Do you truly believe it? What have you achieved? Like yourself. How do you perceive it? Do you truly believe it? What have you achieved? All of my mistakes, I let it. I see every tiny detail, and it's got to be flawless. I cannot achieve it, no one can. I regret everything. I need someone. I need someone. I need someone. I need someone.
I feel like you might be over de-essing your vocals, or maybe that's just the way you talk, but sometimes your S's they sound like THs and not S's.
I need someone.
You know what I mean? Like that someone.
I need someone.
I need thumb. It sounds like you're saying I need thumb one. And maybe that's just the de-esser being too aggressively de-essing. It also,
I need someone.
I don't think it's a list, because every once in a while I'll hear the S come through clear as day, but then every once in a while it won't. And I feel like it's, to me, I've done this before myself. This is how I know, is that I've over de-essed something, and I've given somebody that doesn't have a lisp by over de-essing the S's out of their S's.
I need someone. Maybe I'm not up to what you expect. You know I call.
See, like, hear that S?
You expect, you know.
That's an S.
You expect, you know I called you first. You didn't call me back. Express regret. She's not the move. It can.
Okay, so another thing, and I've been trying to formulate this thought, and I'm just thinking out loud. What do you? I think you mean de-ething. That's actually really funny. I lost my train of thought. Oh yeah. So dum 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 dum. Like that's really cool, but I feel like you're kind of half committing to the sounds. I think you have two layers. You kind of have.
Express regret. She's not the move. It can never last. She's not the move. It can never last. Then.
You kind of have a kind of higher frequency, boom, 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 and then you have a lower frequency, kind of dum, 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 dum. And they're not, I don't know if they're doing the exact same thing the whole time. I kind of feel like they're not doing the exact same thing, but both layers are kind of quiet, and I feel almost like you have not committed to one of them, because you're like, I know I do this, is you have a sound and it should be the main sound, but you're not sure if it's good enough. So you add more, and then you mix them, and you know.
Express regret. She's not the move. It can never last. She's not the move. It can never.
This is a good right here. That last. The ASMR experience here is a good use for the RX platform. In fact, it's the only thing I use the RX tool for. Like I have RX7. Apparently we're up to RX12 or something now, I think. But anyway, it can DS. Like check this out. I'll show you. Let's just do this. Hear all that mouth sound? Let's get a little section here. And we'll take this little section, we'll bring it over here, and we'll render it. I'll just put it on the desktop, whatever. We'll render it. Then we're going to open up RX7. Yeah, that's fine. I'm not even going to listen. I'm not even going to listen to it. I'm going to I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna go to mouth D click, and I'm gonna leave this, and I'm gonna render and render. I just do it twice. That's what I like to do. I don't know why, and I do it, and then I save it. And now let's load it back in and compare. It's just that easy. And remember, this is the whole thing. You can already see it got rid of that. So let's listen. Here's the original.
The move, it can never last. She's
And here we go.
the move, it can never last. She's not the
Like it just gets rid of the mouth noises, even though I gave it the whole song to deal with. We'll specifically listen to this section right here again.
never last. She's never last. She's not the never.
Hold on, let me loop it in a way that's not going to drive me insane. That's still going to drive me insane. Whatever. Okay, I'm going to play it twice with the mouth sound version. Oops.
Never last. She's never last. She's never last. She's never last. She's
It's like magic. It's magic. It's incredibly magical. And that's the only thing I use the RX for. And it works great though, because you get singers. If you're a classically trained vocalist and you know what you're doing, a lot of the time you don't drink anything with dairy product in it. You have warm-ups that you do. Like there's a lot of things to reduce the clicky and the smackiness of your vocal, right? But a lot of the time you still get clicky and smackiness. And then when you start emphasizing the top end and sending it through reverb and delay, that accentuates the clickiness and the smackiness and the slappiness. And sometimes you got to go in and no, a pop shield won't stop it. A pop shield is from like that's what pop shields are for. It's not going to stop the wetness sound of your mouth. You know what I mean? But you can get rid of the plosive sounds with RX-7 as well. That's something else you can do. But it's more just because like they had like a dry mouth or a wet mouth or a moist mouth. I don't know the science behind it. But sometimes when people are singing, they get sounds. And then RX-7 can just go in and fucking assassinate it somehow.
yourself. I see every tiny detail, and it's got to be flawless. I cannot achieve it, no one can. Everything. I need someone. I need someone. I need someone. I need someone. Maybe I'm not up to what you expect. You know I called you first, you didn't call me back.
Yeah, especially this style of vocal too. It's very like it's very prone to hearing that. So I think RX-7 or whatever the RX is, I don't know if there's an affordable way of getting it, but I don't know. I used to do it manually. I would go in and like cut, like zoom way in on a different program and kind of cut out the little and like do some like surgery shit, you know, like this sort of thing. But then I got RX-7, which was like $700 or $800 or whatever. I bought it a long time ago. But well worth it, because then I don't have to, if there's like a great performance of a vocal, but it's just a little too smacky, then, you know, we get that. We just go and run it through the mouth declicker and it magically makes them go away. The 5-finger discount. I've heard of this thing. I don't know anything about it, but I've heard of it. Anyway, I know that I'm a little scatterbrained with this track. I think the track is cool. I'm not sure if this is an issue or not, but I never quite knew where I was in the song. You know, like I'm not, it wasn't entirely clear what was a verse, what was a chorus. I'm not saying that's necessarily a problem with the style, but it is something I wanted to mention, that I just was kind of like, I was just like grooving through the whole time. And then every once in a while I'd hear something I recognize, like I need someone, I need some, is like, okay, those parts are recognizable.
Beam of fire, see you into someone.
Again, I don't know if that's necessarily a problem or not. It's just something I thought I'd mention. But the track's cool.
Why you so mad? Blow up on me like that and then come crawling back.
I think your bum. I think that could be more ballsy. Like it could have a bit more. It could have more bass in it. Maybe that would solve the problem with the sub bass. You know, you might have to get a little more creative when it comes time to playing the sub bass 808 hit and the bass at the same time, if they both are contributing to the sub bass area. But I think it's really catchy and kind of playful and mischievous sounding, devious even. Mischievous. Anyway, I think it's cool. I hope that my random thoughts help in some way.
I dodged a bullet. I dodged a bullet. I dodged a bullet.
Misdevious. That's a new word. I made it up today. I am the inventor. Okay, very cool. Felix Archive. Thank you for sending. Let's move on. We got Hat Man. Is that who you see when you take too much Benadryl? Blue steak. I like my steak medium. Come to me all the time. People with too much Benadryl. Okay, this is weird. It's wonky. I don't dislike it. I do think that I think you might have lost me with the bass. The bass. I think you might have lost me with the bass. It's too not real. I like this part. I like it, like, but to me, that bass still sticks out like a sore thumb. I mean, it's cool though. But like, I don't know. I'm just not a fan of the super MIDI bass, you know, especially when you're playing the same note over like repetitively and it just is the exact same audio sample over and over again. Here's what I think. I think you have a grasp on this style of music, and I think that the tools you are using to create it are maybe holding you back. The drums very MIDI sounding, the bass very MIDI sounding, the guitar at the start very MIDI sounding. I'm also not a fan. Hatman person. I like your username. So to me, I think you might have one of the I think you might have one of the easiest jobs in stepping up your production because it requires you getting stuff, not doing things different, right? I think I'll record an actual bass. I haven't gotten to it. Okay, that's fine too. I mean, like, that's probably the best thing to do, right? But to me, this is being held, like, it sounds very creative. You sound like a very creative person. Based on the tracks that you send in. But I think that like the sounds that you have and the production that you're using just isn't up to snuff with your level of creativity. So getting some like, whether it's like superior drummer with a few good metal packs, I think that might be a good investment on your part, is getting superior drummer. Superior drummer is very good. It's no substitute for a real drummer in a real studio with a real kit and a real set of mics and a real person behind the mixing board. Like you can't really substitute. But in terms of what you're able to do with a mouse and keyboard, superior drummer is probably your best bet. Because like that fill should be like, but it just kind of sounds a little dinky because the drums just don't sound that good. You know what I mean? I really think that if you found some better sounding drums to begin with, you'd be miles ahead. And then sure, record real bass. That's a good idea. There's also a few moments where the bass goes and does a couple notes that might not really agree with the guitar. And for the most part, the bass sounds what the notes that the bass are playing sounds right. But every once in a while, it walks up and it hits some notes that might not be agreeing with the guitar notes. So I would maybe investigate. This does sound like something you would hear when you took too much Benadryl, so it does kind of make sense. Yeah, dude, I think my advice to you is to go and get some better sounding stuff to play with. That was cool. This is we're overdosing on Benadryl now. We are fading away. What? That is so aggressive. It sounds like the drummer's on Benadryl or whatever the opposite of Benadryl is. Dude, is that Coal Chamber? Loco. Is that Loco by Coal Chamber? I listened to Loco by Coal Chamber today in the shower. What the fuck is what are the chances of that? Seriously. I haven't listened to Coal Chamber since high school, and today I listened to Loco by Coal Chamber, and now you're playing Loco by Coal Chamber? Like, what the fuck are the chances of that? I listened to that today in the shower, and now you have it in your song. I don't know what the chances are, but they're pretty astronomical. I'm mind blown right now. Absolutely unreal. That is unreal. Anyway, those are my thoughts. I'm actually, my mind is fucking blown because the chances of me listening to Loco by Coal Chamber today for the first time in like 20 years and then coming to the studio and having somebody put that in the middle of their song just for a second is just, God, I shouldn't have done so much fucking Benadryl last night, I guess. All right, let's move on. Those are my thoughts. Hope they help. Let's listen to Ice Kayab, God of War Marching Band Show opener, no drum line. I can't read. Wow, that was very whimsical. I think that's a great word for it. What do I think? Well, if this is for like some sort of visual thing, it probably makes more sense than just listening to it as like a listening thing. Okay, bye, Lil Roy. When it swelled up, I find it very hard to distinguish the melody because it's kind of a bit chromatic. Like it sounds like there's like kind of like a this happening a bit too much. I wonder if you could, without sacrificing like the vibe you're going for with kind of some of the dissonance that's in there, I wonder if you could tighten up to have a more clear melody, a more defined melody, because to me it sounds like a lot of notes happening at the same time, and it's hard for me to listen and be like da da dun da da dun da da, because there's a lot. There's like you got the da 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 da, you got like the and it just doesn't sound like it's necessarily in the same key. You've got kind of like what appears to be staccato brass or synth. I can't quite tell. Doing the da dun 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 dun, like the eighth note things, right? But then you've got those kind of more sustained da 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 da, and they don't necessarily sound like they're agreeing with each other. So I would maybe go and I understand the idea behind having some dissonance and stuff, and it's very common to use that in like soundtracky kind of medieval war, God of War, that's, I get it, but I think it might be obscuring the da dun dun da dun dun da dun dun da. Like that's a cool melody, but there's other stuff that's kind of stepping on top of that that's making that hard. I almost had to listen to it all the way through, and then I was like, oh, okay, the melody is da dun dun da dun dun da dun dun da. Like that's the melody, right? But I didn't immediately hear that. It took some listening and some deciphering for me to figure that out. You could also hint at, you could tease that a little bit in the start. Dum 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 dum. It could even be like a pizzicato, like plucking of the strings. I'm not good at this style of music. I'm just spitballing here, but yeah, I think that's mostly what I got for this one. You do have some clipping, and I don't really think with this style of music we need to go right rail to rail like you've done here in terms of like master and overall volume. I don't think it needs to go right to the top, and you can hear some audible clipping and because of that. Right there, hear the gristly bacon cooking sound. Anyway. I think that's all I got for this one, because I don't know how to critique it from a musical standpoint. I'm not good at orchestral stuff. It's delivering, it's giving me feelings of war and swords and maybe bows and arrows and maybe crossbows and orcs. So if that's what you're going for, then great job. It's very dramatic and that's cool, but yeah, maybe take what I said into consideration and see where that takes you. Okay, cool. Let's move on. K. Meyer, Stumble, 140 beats per minute. Thank you for letting me know. Let's have a listen. Sorry, I don't make beats for people. I make beats for myself. And I don't even do that really anymore. But sorry about that. What they say about over communication, I guess I need some rehabilitation. Okay, the vocals sound really good in this. The track is kind of, I'm assuming you're holding off on the bass until what this looks to be, but I feel like we should have some sub bass. It feels like high past. Um, why is it? Well, why haven't I made music in a while? I think I burnt myself out. I made a lot of music for a lot of years. I did it full time for over a decade, pretty much like every single day. So I burnt myself out. And then I started another company where I design and build electronics for cars, and that started to take off. So I've been focusing more of my efforts on the electronics side of things, and I do want to I want to try to release one song before the end of the year. So we'll see if that happens. Because I miss making music. I mean, I haven't like made a song in fucking probably 6 months or more now, or maybe even like a year. It's been a very long time. And if it wasn't for doing these feedback streams, I probably wouldn't go to the studio at all. So I'm glad that I come to the studio and get to listen to your tracks and get my mind working in the production side. It's not the production side that I struggle with. It's the inspiration, you know? I just feel like I burnt through a lot of my creative inspiration for like 10 years, and then I just struggled for a while, and here I am not making music. What does FWLR stand for? It's my last name without the vowels. Start your donut media. Yeah, right. Anyway, so back to this. Thank you. Taking a break is a good thing. Yeah, I think taking a break is a good thing. I don't know if taking a break for a fucking year is a good thing, but taking a break is a good thing. I still write music for TV shows and stuff. I still do that because I need money. And the electronics does pay quite well now that I've established the brand and I'm selling quite a bit online. But like, I still write music for TV shows because that's how I've made my living since 2012 or 2013. So I still do that. But in terms of making my own music that I'm like in love with and I'm happy and proud to put out there as my own artist project, I just haven't had the energy or inspiration to touch it in a while. And strategically, it's very bad. My monthly listeners has gone down on Spotify. It would make sense that they would. I expect that. So strategically, I should be releasing music, but I don't fucking care. I mean, I never really cared about the strategy that much with the FWLR project. The whole point of it was for me to just do whatever I wanted to do, because basically, this is a big aside, but the whole reason I started my FWLR project was because I was spending every ounce of my creative energy writing for TV shows, and that's great for money and great for my career, but it wasn't fulfilling my creative side because I had to follow somebody else's creative vision. I had to, write music that would work. It couldn't be too creative because it'd be too distracting. It has to fit into a box. And that's all. I still enjoy doing it, but I started my FWLR project so that I could have an outlet for whatever I wanted and not give a shit whether people liked it or not, right? Yeah, I'm sure I've probably regurgitated this a couple times. But so the reason I bring that up is because it's very bad for my FWLR project to go this long without releasing music. But I also don't really fucking care because it was never supposed to. I never expected to be as popular as it is. The fact that I've got millions of plays on Spotify blows my mind. I mean, I'm just writing music for the fun of it, and then people listen to it, and that's cool. And maybe I'll do that again. I want to get back to this song. That's the aside is over. I don't think we should wait a full minute to hear like bass. I think you should have, because you have bass in there, bow, 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 but there's no real bottom end to it. It feels high pass. And I feel like maybe you were waiting until you got to this next section so that it would have more impact. But I don't think we should go that long having the track feel quite high passed. Anyway, let's keep going. So I like this. I like the way it sounds, but again, there's really not much sub bass happening, and that the main synth thing, the bow 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 bow, that it's very loud in like the mid range area, and it's just very loud overall. But I'm not really hearing like not a whole lot of sub. If we just listen to just the sub range. So I think you gotta maybe listen to some, like, I don't know, Flux Pavilion, or what's the other dude that has that song? Flume. Something like that. I think Flume is probably a good reference, some Flume tracks, and listen specifically to how they tackle the sub range. Because what you have here is cool, but it needs to have that, that deep sub underneath of it. Yeah, because like even right here, like there's very little energy in the bottom end. The kick is just, it's just a little short kick, and that's okay. The kick doesn't have to be big, but you've got down, 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 down. You got kind of like this eighth note thing chugging along, and it could have a sub bass element to it that's following along. That might be one way of doing it. Even that John, it kind of feels like it wants to have sub bass, but it's not very loud. Yeah, this track is, the song is good. The melody, all the production is, honestly, it's all very good. It's just like straight up the lack of sub bass that's bothering me. I think that's really, if you could figure out how to engirthen the bottom end of this. I think the vocals are maybe a bit thin too, like you've high passed them too far. I guess I need to meditate or medicate with hesitation. Another shitty day, I did put myself in the situation. It sounds like you've almost, like you've cut off the fundamental frequency of your voice. Like you've really, I get like having it bright, but it still needs to have the chest part of the voice, you know? So I'd probably maybe lower down if you've got like a high pass on your vocal. And I just need the remedy, somebody help me, 'cause with every step I take I stumble, tripping over myself. Am I in trouble? Every breath I take I'm drowning. Will I ever catch a break? I just keep Yeah, I like it. I like the stuff that's there. I think that synth is too loud, and I think you got to figure out a way to really rumble the speakers, you know? Like imagine somebody playing this in their 2004 Honda Civic with a massive subwoofer. They would not be getting the license plate wouldn't be rattling nearly as hard as it should for a track like this. So, I think that's the biggest thing. Unthin your vocals a little bit and try to get some more bottom end into the track. Okay, let's move on. Velcode 160 beats per minute, Lie to Me. Let's have a listen. Yeah, this is sick. I think what you should do, hold on, where are we? We are here. So, okay, leave this part the same. And then the second time you do it, have the sub bass down the octave so that it's deep, you know? Because it feels like you're like holding back too long. And then eventually, I don't know why I did this, but anyway. Then we finally get but we get the bottom note, right? But we're waiting too long for the bottom note. I think you could. And then in that second round, have it the lower octave. I think that would. It's almost like we're waiting too long for the sub range to hit, and it's just losing power because of it. You hear that? Killers in the jungle. I'm assuming you're not going to end it there. That's just kind of where it's at. This is dope, dude. The sound design's all really cool. It gets me fired up. I really just think that, like, yeah, not holding off on the sub bass as long is probably going to pay dividends, because I get the idea of having like a little, it feels kind of congested, right? But I think that that's okay, and it builds anticipation or what's not anticipation. It builds tension. It builds tension. But then I think if you brought the sub bass down an octave and relieved the tension sooner, I think that would work well. What if it ended? I mean, sure, but I just don't think that it's rocking too hard to end. You can't just end. It's got to keep going. You need another drop section and then some sort of ending. But in my opinion, it's too fired up to just end. It's kind of like, oh, I guess we're done, you know? Anyway, it's very cool. Thanks for sending. That's all I got. Vagamags ID. Oh, fuck, I stopped it.
A person who thinks all the time has nothing to think about except thought.
It kind of reminds me of the GoldenEye sound a little bit in the background there. It's cool.
Let's go. Let's go.
there's a lot of really, like, each individual section is sick. I was headbanging more than I probably should for medical reasons. But here's the thing, the track kind of sounds like one of those demo tracks for like a sample pack. Like there's a lot of really sick sounding stuff happening. I don't know if I necessarily hear a song in here. You got a lot of great stuff to work with, and each of these sections is dope as fuck. But to me, it just kind of sounds like section after section of really cool sounding shit. And I feel like it needs to be there needs to be more focus put on, like, it's not finished, the middle section is missing. Okay, I understand. But I just, something to keep in mind is that to me, it sounds like all of the effort was put on like the drop sections. And maybe that is just where you're at with it right now. You know, that's not necessarily a bad thing, but I'm not, it doesn't make me feel a certain way, if that makes sense. It makes me rock out, it makes me headbang, but with a little more context surrounding it, I could be a bit more emotionally invested in it. And that doesn't necessarily mean emotional, like love or sad or whatever. It could just mean like, it makes me feel like a badass. It's priming me to feel like a badass. And now I want to turn it up when it gets to the drop because I'm a fucking badass. And whether that's due to some melodic thing or like a vocal, you know, rap section or like little like hook or, you know, it doesn't really matter what it is. But I feel like without context surrounding the drops, you could have the coolest drop in the world, but it's not going to hit as hard as if it's prefaced with something that makes you feel a certain way. I don't know if any of that makes sense, but yeah, I think that to me, you've got a lot of like sick drop sections, and now you got to figure out how to chisel this into a song so that when you drop, I'm like, hell yeah, I'm right there with you. I'm like, I'm ready to fight the fight, but I don't necessarily know what the fight is, I guess, without the context, if that makes sense. Like the drop section is the battle where I'm swinging a sword around and trying to, you know, kill everybody or whatever, fighting for the cause, but I don't know what the cause is. I don't know who I'm fighting for. I don't know what I'm fighting for. So that's basically, because in terms of like the production, I think it's great. I don't know if I'd have any real... I guess this build kind of feels this is what it kind of feels like to me. Like energy wise, you've got kind of like this, you got this build. Where's my fucking mouse? There it is. Hold on. You got like this build, right? And then it like jumps up and then it's like, oh, and then there's like the drop is just kind of there, where I would kind of want the energy to do this instead. I'm going to switch to the blue pen. I'd want the energy to kind of, you know, and then boom, drop, you know. To me, it doesn't leave a lot on the table in terms of energy level for the drop to deliver on. It just kind of like, it gets right up to the energy level before the drop happens, and then the drop just continues that energy. It doesn't feel like a drop. It feels like the buildup. It just feels like a continuation of the buildup. So that's the only real like technical feedback I think I would have on that. Everything else sounds dope. But the bigger problem is, like I said, if you think of the drop as you in battle fighting for something, all of the stuff that isn't the drop, the builds, the breakdowns, the intro, all that stuff, that is getting the troops ready to fight for something. And then the drop section is us fighting for that thing. And I just don't know what I'm fighting for, but I am fighting. So at least there's that. Okay, that's what I think. Thank you for sending. Let's check out Stubborn Dance. I don't know why I said that with a southern accent. Let's have a listen. Is this like breakcore? Would you consider this breakcore, or is it not breaky enough? I'm not sure about this bass thing. I don't know about the notes. The bass that comes in there. I don't know if it's really agreeing with what's happening melodically. Specifically this note that I went to. Like, yeah, I don't like, okay, hold on. I wish I had my, let me plug in my keyboard. Ugh, I meant to do this before. One sec. Ugh. I think it's this one. You might lose, oh, for fuck's sakes. Is everything... I feel like I'm diffusing a bomb and I've cut the right wire. I unplugged the right USB device. Ah, yes. Okay, so let me load up something and figure out, first of all, what key we're in. Okay, so we're in A. So I think your bass line could literally just be D, E, A. Or if you wanted to do the more sustained... No, it wouldn't work unless you did. Yeah, you could do that. I think DEA, maybe? I don't know, the DEA. And just for context, this is the bass sound. It is it's a triangle wave. That's it. But it has more bottom end to it than what you're... No. I think you're just playing it up an octave too high. I think... Yeah, if you did like low D... I don't know, that could maybe be better. But that note right there specifically didn't really work with your chords. It kind of reminds me a little bit of like Square Pusher or Aphex Twin, so that's cool. But yeah, I'm not sold on the bass line, specifically the notes that it's playing. And I think I think you're playing it in the wrong octave. I would put it down an octave. But I get what you're saying. The note is definitely off. Yeah, I mean, like, here's the thing. You don't need to know all there is to know about music theory. I certainly do not, right? But spending some time, like, watching... there's a lot of terrible tutorials on YouTube. There's a lot of tutorials on YouTube, and a lot of them are terrible. But like, I don't know, just trying to, if you know this is a weakness, if you know that you struggle with the musical theory, dedicate some hours to it, watch some music theory fundamentals and really put the work in to try to pound, because once you get like a basic knowledge, a basic understanding of how melody, harmony, the intervals between notes and that sort of stuff works, then all of a sudden you don't need to become Mozart to write music, but it will help you, because I know for me, before I got to where I'm at, which is still not that great in terms of music knowledge, but before I got there, I would know what sounded good and what sounded bad. I would just have to stumble around blindly until I landed on what sounded good, instead of just knowing a general direction to go. I'd have to just fucking stab in the dark until it sounded right, and that would take forever, and it would ruin the inspiration in the moment. So arming yourself with a little bit of music theory fundamentals, just basic stuff, and maybe just like dedicating a week of like just grinding out tutorials. Because every time you watch a tutorial, if you just take it with a grain of salt and you don't just straight up do what people are telling you to do, and you can suss out who seems to know what they're talking about and who is just making a tutorial to try and get views. I mean, every time you watch something, you'll figure some little thing out. A little bit will fall into place each time. You won't just watch a music or a music theory video and then instantly like understand how to write music, but you'll probably be 1% better at music theory than before you watched. So if you consciously dedicate some time to like learning the theory, you're gonna struggle a lot less to find what sounds good. I like the breakcore stuff though. I like your drum chops and that stuff. That's cool. And it's E4 is the key. Oh shit. Hold on a sec. I think it's in A. Well, that's E. That doesn't sound to me. I'm basing it on the chord thing that comes in at the that da-da-dun, da-da-dun. That's in A. This is me playing E. And if you just basically if you listen to that da-da-dun, 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 and if you hold a note and it kind of works with all of the stuff, that's a pretty good indication that is the key that it's in. That's not really like a rule you can always use. That to me sounds like the root note, you know? I don't know what notes are in that chord. I don't know how they're moving around, but I know to my ear, that sounds like the root note to me. But again, that would come from, it comes from experience. I mean, I've been writing music since, I've been making electronic music since 2004, so 20 years. So I over the years, you kind of develop and you're just, like, okay, that's the root note. I don't know if I could really explain to you how to do that without just putting the time in, but, Anyway, let's keep going. "2004 is the year I was born." Move it down an octave. Like, I think generally we're talking about two issues here. There's the issue that the bass line doesn't really work with the chords that are being played in the da-da-da thing. That's an issue. But then there's another issue that the bass is generally up an octave too high, because that doesn't tickle my breasts. That does, like listen to it through a subwoofer. It's the same note, it's just down an octave. So if you can play it, you should generally play your bass line in the lowest octave that you can before it starts sounding, like that's too low. It's not discernible. That frequency is too low. So we have to choose. That's the lowest A we can really play, right? And that's why when I talk about what keys to write your music in when you're writing bass music, it's typically from like D to G, because I can play that D. That's the lowest D I can play, and it's nice and thick and juicy. But when I play it, say a B, that's the lowest B I can play, because if I go down an octave to where that D was, it's kind of too low. It's almost like inaudibly low. So anyway, I think if I were you, you've got kind of the cutting up of the amen breaks. You've got that kind of sensibility to you, and I like that da-da-da. That thing's cool too. But I do really think that you're gonna have to spend some time, especially because you are aware that the music theory is like a weakness of yours, right? So that's fine. That's at least some people don't even know why they're struggling, right? And at least that it's music theory. And there's lots of resources out there. I wouldn't form any rules by watching tutorials. That can be dangerous, because somebody might be like, you should always do this, and they could just be straight up wrong, and you might just base the next 5 years of your life on this thing that this person said, right? But try to keep an open mind, try to just like absorb some of the information and form your own opinions based on many sources until you find maybe a channel that it has a good reputation and you can kind of follow some of their guidelines. Andrew Huang. Yes, that's a good one. Yeah, maybe that's a great place to start. Anyway, that's what I think, dude. I think that your aiming breaks and your production stuff is cool, but I do think that you need a better handle on music theory, and then you will struggle less to find what you're after. All right, let's move on. That's not what I meant to do. Next, we got Simulcats. Monday Green. Oh, sorry. What about the last part? Let's have it. So it's like musically, it's chaotic. Musically, there's a bunch of stuff that doesn't sound related to each other. So unless you're talking. Yeah. Same thing. The last part is, it's just melodically, I can't, if I listen to just this section, I don't think I'd be able to tell you what key the song was. Because to me, each individual part is kind of doing its own thing, right? And that's, again, comes back to like making sure things are working melodically with each other and supporting a greater good. And I think that there's like maybe like 3 main musical elements, and they're all kind of just doing their own thing and not necessarily in the same key. So I would start with the basics. Just do like, sometimes I find it would be best for you to just learn some real basic cheesy 4-chord pop music chord progressions and how the melodies work with those, and then get more interesting and creative. But it's usually easiest to start and best to build on something you understand, and like your classic kind of like the Beatles, like chords that people play, and it will be 25 different songs all use the same chord structure. Starting with that stuff, kind of getting comfortable with, what chords move to what chords and how different melodies will play off of the chord structure. That anyway. Start with Andrew Huang and go from there. All right, let's move on. I can feel my bladder filling up. Okay, back to Simulcats. Here we go. Okay, this is sick. Very cool. I love the vocals. I love the vibe. Everything's good. I think your sub bass should have a non-sub bass component to it. A gritty bass on top of it, something like that, because it's Bobby. I think we're done for today. Sorry, but next Friday, every Friday, you can send her in. So you've got I like what the bass is doing, and it's nice and thick, but there's no definition to it. There's just pure kind of sub bass. But if it had kind of jung 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 jung, like it had more like a dirty kind of sound designy bass on top of it, then all of a sudden we can. To me, I just feel like I'm almost like drowning in sub bass, right? And you can kind of see that. See how you got this big sub bass bump and then like this kind of no man's land and then the rest of the track. I think having some crunchy sound design bass to fill in that area would and maybe bringing the sub bass down a little bit. It's overwhelmingly loud. And I don't know, it might not be overwhelmingly loud if there was some other component to it to add some some higher frequency information, but I kind of think it might be too early to break down so aggressively, you know, like I don't know. I feel like I say this a lot, and it's just my opinion, but when I'm grooving, I don't really want the groove to stop, you know? I don't really want to stop grooving until I'm ready to stop grooving. And I don't think I was ready to stop grooving yet. I think I was still like grooving, you know? To me, this is like halfway through. The groove must go on, yeah. This breakdown is kind of like a halfway through the song breakdown. Like, all right, everybody's sweaty. We need a little breather. We need to get our energy back so that when it comes back in, we're ready to fucking go hard, you know? I just don't think we're there yet. This part's cool. Okay, so Kadia, I might have had them zoomed out too far so that my face was covering them. Let me just check out real quick. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Do I have yours? Kadia, when you see the moon. Oh, I am missing yours. No, I think you're right. Oh, fuck. Hold on. Oh, damn. Yeah, I did miss a few. Oh, shit. Yeah, okay. Submissions are definitely over. Damn it. Hold on. You are 100% correct. All right. I'm going to pick up the pace. I want to give these tracks the time they deserve, but at the same time, I also don't want to be here till midnight. Okay. I think we're good now. All right. And we're back. I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 21, 2. Yep, 22. We're good. Thank you, Kadia, for putting that out. I'm Canadian. Okay, so I really like these style. I like this style of drum, but I feel like it kind of never blossomed into like the full like. Maybe it should bring in like the clap or the snare or whatever at some point. You know, like maybe here. Maybe we should have a boom, cat, boom, cat, boom, boom, cat, boom, cat, boom, to like feel like we finally like got to the full version, the full final form of this style of beat, right? You got a lot of really good stuff in here, though. There's a lot to work with. See, like this, you almost have it backwards. I feel like this breakdown would like maybe work better here, and then this breakdown would maybe work better here, you know? And especially if this was maybe a bit shorter, and I'm not doing this to like tempo or anything, obviously, but you know, maybe that, and then you have the big breakdown here, and then you build this up for the last drop, which is... Oh my God. Okay, hold on. yeah, I think it's really cool, dude. I think with some tweaks this would be dope. I do still think that the sub bass is a bit overwhelming. So maybe deal with that. But it's a good track. There's lots of great stuff happening, and I hope that my thoughts help. Okay, let's move on. We got Party on My Own, no intro. I'm not sold on that second chord. It's a little too like grandma's organ that has like built-in chord progressions. That just the second chord is I think it's a little too spicy for me. Maybe I'm just being a white boy about it, but I don't know. It's a little. Also, I mean, like this kind of goes without saying, but like, just you said no intro, so it's no intro, but we just kind of heard the chord progression exactly the same twice in a row. That doesn't really fly. And I'm assuming this is going to be the same twice in a row. Yeah. So like, I don't know. It's kind of, if there's not really much developing, it just kind of feels stagnant, right? In terms of the production, the kick is kind of just a little like knock, like there's not really much oomph to it. Let's see what the tempo is. Somewhere around here. No way, it's 120. It is 120. Well, it's 60, but you know what I mean. Okay, let's see what it could sound like with better. Sure, the first kick I find. I mean, it's not really a great example, but you can see how like having a more oomphy kick coming through is going to make things better. And then we'll also just go grab there to complete the package. Just like better drums, I think is going to go a long way. Again, I'm not really into that second chord. Oh, something happened to my camera. One sec. Oh, fuck. And I'm back. Yeah, anyway, so that's basically... Let's just like... These samples I've bought over the past 20 years. That's where they come from. I don't use Splice. I have my own Splice, which is my hard drive. Just having like better sounding drums, I think is going to take you a long way. And then another thing to think about is like, just first of all, the tempo is slow. It's 60, right? That's slow to begin with. But now you have chords that change slow. You have chords that just are like wide open filter, sawtooth chords just sustaining. There's not a whole lot of life happening. It's just a lot of waiting. Like I feel like this track, we're waiting for the next chord change. We're waiting for the next drum hit. There's a lot of waiting, and there's ways of, you can keep it at 60 beats per minute and still have it cool and interesting. But you're gonna have to change some things. Like there's not enough stuff evolving. There's not enough stuff. It's just kind of like 16 bars of this thing. Okay, now we have 16 bars of this thing. Okay, now we have 16 bars of this thing, right? So to me, I think, first of all, I'd probably like low pass that sawtooth chord at some point. I'd probably fix that second chord, make it a little less spiced. And then now if you low pass it, now you have something to change. You can open the low pass. You can close the low pass. You could do some rhythmic stuff with the low pass. It gives you a lever to pull or push, to change things. Because if nothing changed, I mean, like if you think about it, a song is like change over time. We start with the intro, then it changes into the verse, then we get the chorus, then it breaks back down to the verse. And like there's change happening. And there's not a whole lot of change happening here. It just kind of sounds like you're constantly adding a new like section of hats, or maybe the drums change a little bit, or now there's a melody, but it doesn't feel intentional. It just kind of feels experimental or something. Not experimental like weird music experimental, just kind of like you're like figuring it out, which is fine if that's what you're doing. Speaking of low pass, there it is. This part's cool. I think the drums should go dun 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 dun, and that would break up the monotony of the slow pace, right? Because now we're just kind of dun 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 constantly, right? But if maybe the drum beat was dun 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 dun, then all of a sudden it spices it up a little bit, you know. I think overall, like you're going in the right direction. I just think that it needs more embellishment, I think is the right word, right? Let's see what happens. I'm gonna do that drum thing that I was talking about. So it was da 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 da. Cool. There it is. We get all that. Maybe we'll use those hi-hats. Well, now we have both kicks going at the same time, but you get the idea. I just can't get over that second chord though. It's too spicy grandma's organ. Anyway, okay, those are my thoughts. Try to find some better sounding drum samples and get the drums a little more up front, and then figure out how to make it a bit more embellished, a bit more interesting sounding. Okay, thank you. Moving on. I gotta start moving faster because I'm running out of time. Where are we? Multifox. All right, here we go. Stranded.
When you come into my place,
Advice on where to find better ones. Wave Alchemy is a really good source. I don't really know. Honestly, I don't buy samples very often because I've collected them for decades. So I have more samples than I'll ever use. All right, let's get to this song. This is very cheerful. So I think my biggest gripe with this, I hit the spacebar by accident. The melody sounds like you are playing a chord into an arpeggio, and then that is the melody. And then each chord, we're getting the same interval, but just transposed up or down based on what the chord is, right? It it doesn't really work that good. I think having an arpeggio as a melody might be a good way to get inspired, but typically what I'll do is instead of if I'm fucking around with an arpeggiator and it's making some sort of melody that I like, I'll figure out that melody that I like and I'll do it discreetly with MIDI notes. And then that way I can customize it and change it and have call and response and treat it like a melody. Because right now there's a few chords that it's playing and the melody just kind of goes off and doesn't really sound that dee doo doo doo. It just, but I believe that this is based on an arpeggiator. So you're just sending it the same chords that the chord structure is made out of. And the arpeggiator is doing a predefined interval, little pattern that it's doing. And sometimes they sound good on some chords, but then other chords, they don't sound that good. So what I would do if I were you is I would figure out what notes the arpeggiator is playing and then just copy that into a MIDI roll, figure out the notes, put them into a MIDI roll, and then elaborate and write it as if it was a normal melody. And that way you can choose to not do the interval. You can change the interval up. For each chord, you can customize it to each chord a little bit better and have more of a call and response. It doesn't really sound like to me, it just sounds like an arpeggiator. It doesn't sound like a melody. It's dee-dee-dee, dee-dee-dee. That it. So yeah, and hey, maybe it's not an arpeggiator. Maybe it's all discreetly programmed in through MIDI. I don't know. I wouldn't be able to tell, but it's doing the same thing as if it were an arpeggiator. Yeah, again, the arpeggiator here isn't really working. I program it, did kind of choose them randomly. Okay. Like that in that section with the bass note doesn't really work out so. Like your production is always getting better. The production isn't the issue here. I think it's mostly again, it's kind of tough to write in a major key. I find this is in a major key, so it's always going to kind of have a level of cheese to it because of the major key, right? But I think it's mostly the arpeggiator thing that I'm not digging. Because if the chord progression isn't bad, the bass, everything is fine, but it's just the melody is just, I'm just not digging it. This is definitely a very multi-fox thing to do. This individual drum hit with silence in between them. I don't know if it's a good thing or not. It's when I see this, I can tell, and also another multi-fox thing to do is that each of the drums are pretty much fully like 100% volume. Cheesy stuff I'm sending in. There you go. Call it Cheesecake Factory.
Only good vibes when you come.
See, like, I like this section better because it doesn't have the dun 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 dun, like that thing. I think that's the biggest thing I don't like about this track. But I get having like that cheerful 8-bit kind of sound to it. I'm not saying that that's not the way to go. I think what you need to do is maybe set aside the arpeggiator things and just try to write a melody that fits a little bit better than just doing the dun 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 dun. And I think I probably didn't play that correctly just then. But anyway, I think the production is good, dude. I think that it's just the melody that's bothering me. I would go from there. Okay, moving on. Chord Meltdown Relief. Wow, is this a chord vocal what's reveal, vocal reveal? So I like where this is going for the chord style. I feel like it's missing a lot of top end. So you see what I mean? Like if I go between what I think it should kind of sound a little bit more like, and I've added 12 decibels of the top end. That's not an insignificant amount. That's a lot of high end. I think you got to get some more air into this. To me, it's like all very mid-range. There's not a lot of bass. There's not a lot of high end. There's just a lot of mid-range. Yeah, I mean, like I think adding in some high end is going to help a lot. I also think we should get away from the heart rate monitor sound in certain parts. I think having it pretty much goes the whole time, I think. I really like the vocoder thing. I think using the heart rate monitor sound a little more sparingly is going to be a good move. And I think I wouldn't go and just add this to your master bus like I did, but I would try to figure out how to add a bit more, kind of like scoop the mix a little bit, bring the mids down and the high and the lows up. And then, yeah, give us a break from the heart rate monitor. It gets a bit abrasive on the ears if it's going the whole time, right? So pick and choose when to use that. Okay.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Very strange, very cool. I dig it. I hope that helps. All right. Sorry, I know I'm moving fast, but I kind of have to. King Cobra Live ID. 2-factor authentication.
Shooting starving across air cars, my space, distort that bass. Twisted look upon my face. You saying who if I set pace? Nobody else is involved in the race. These men, helium. Drop that bar in a wheelie bin. City strapper, I'm not believing him. City trapper, I'm not believing him. If I was you, man, I wouldn't be seen with him. Embarrassing. If he talks, I'm slapping him, grabbing him, and kidnapping him. Now they only see him on the news like Londoner. Wonder my jeans, I'm a conjurer. North, east, south, and west, I'm a wanderer. Think before I move, I'm a ponderer. Impose my will on them all, I'm a conqueror. War me, better off death for the opera. Couldn't see my steps with binoculars. Won't stop till I'm prosperous. No to react like phosphorus. I said, nobody.
Yeah, this is dope. I think I'd chill out on the reverb on the vocals. The vocals kind of feel a bit washed out, and I'm not absorbing them as much as I would like to. I think having them a bit more dry and in my face would be a good thing. Like, to me, it almost sounds 50-50 between wet and dry in terms of the delay and reverb or whatever's on the vocals. And I think it should be more like in my face, dry with the backing of the reverb and delay to fill in like the space between the words and stuff, right?
Nobody's with nobody's, case and casket closed, I'm so sorry. Me wagon cause sweat, no Molly, no bacon, we don't like no bobbies, no brown, no white, just Mary Jane. Leaders like Rooney, hair again, lick shots at strikers, play for Spain. This journey storm, don't fear the rain.
Let's get wild.
I'd probably at this point, I'd probably try to switch it up a bit more because it kind of okay, we've got we've had that for a while. You could maybe keep that, but to me, I know that the track's going to change here, but I wouldn't know that if I was just listening to it, and I'd probably start to get a little bit bored of that. To answer your question quickly, I definitely have my go-tos, but the more you do it, the more you realize that the tools that you use are not that important. Of course, there's great synths, great effects and stuff that can't be replaced or mimicked. But for the most part, it really comes down to the person using it. I use, a lot of people will be like, oh, I use linear phase EQs. I'm like, bitch, I use the fucking, I use this on everything. He's like, so I guess to answer your question in probably a somewhat disappointing way, I don't really lean too much on specific tools. It's more about the person using them. Okay. Yeah, I feel like that bass thing is kind of overstaying its welcome. I was really into it for a while, but I think this section right here, it started to lose me. Yeah, you might maybe just cut this section out and boom, maybe that's a thing. I don't know.
Let's get wild. 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 Wild.
It's dark at the bottom of the steps and the top so far it's a mythical place. Mentally bad in the physical race. Shooting starving across head guards my space. Distort that place. Twisted look upon my face. You think new if I set pace. Nobody else is involved in the race. He's like helium. Drop that bar in a wheelie bin. City strap, but I'm not believing him. City traps, but I'm not believing him. If I was you, man, I wouldn't be seen with him. Embarrassing. If he talks, I'm slapping him, grabbing him, then kidnapping him. Now they only see him on the news like London. I wonder my jeans, I'm a conjurer. North, east, south, and west, I'm a wanderer. Think before I move on.
Why do we keep having that click? What is that? But anyway, what is this section? There's some weird something happening in the sub bass every once in a while in this section. There's it almost sounds like you're kicking yourself. I don't know. There's some adding up. It's really loud and then it goes away. I don't. I guess I shouldn't be complaining because this is your most normal submission yet, I think, and I dig it a lot. I really this might be your favorite, my favorite song that you've submitted. This section is just, I just don't understand it. Like it's smaller than the other sections. It's the trance one was more normal. Maybe I don't remember, but. Yeah, right there. There's some weird phase stuff happening in the sub range. Yeah, you kind of lost me in this section, to be honest. Like, I'm not saying that maybe you can develop it into something, but to me,
Let's get wild. Get wild.
I don't know. I'm not saying it's not worth doing. Like, I kind of like it, but it feels totally different than the rest of the song. I kind of like the like the crunchy clap. It's dirty. I like it, but it just, to me, it feels like a whole new song. And then we go back to Let's Get Wild. Anyway, overall, I think this is a cool track. I think you're onto something, and I hope my random thoughts help. Okay, let's check out Mr. FL Studio Mobile. Zephyrinth Untitled FL Mobile ID, unmixed, unmastered. No, this is unmastered. Okay, let's have a listen. Oh, right. Okay.
Switch it up.
Yeah, it was tempting. Yeah, this is sick. I love this 8-bit electro shit. I love the melody. Like, this is really good stuff. Especially made on FL Studio. I know that that's not really a qualifier that you should really throw around, you know, like this is good for FL Studio. No, it's just good, period. I don't know. I feel like every time you send something in, I'm like, dude, like figure out how to start using FL non-mobile, you know, the stationary FL Studio. Because I think your skills will transfer over well, and you'll take great off. If you're able to do this on, I've used FL Studio Mobile, and I want to throw my phone against the wall within 5 minutes. If you're able to do this good on FL Studio Mobile, I can only imagine that you're going to do incredibly well with FL Stationary. So get FL Stationary. I don't think I have any advice for you besides that, because this is dope. You know, like there's some messiness with like the sound design. Just like some of your FM synth design is maybe a little, I don't even know, flabby. But it's almost to the point where it's just like a taste thing. So I don't necessarily know if that's good advice or not. But yeah, just fucking get FL Stationary, please. That's all I got for you. This is dope. This is a dope track. I don't have anything else to say. Let's move on. Rocketeer Samurai. See you, dude. Thanks for sending. Okay, this is your track. Cool. All right. So far, what I would say is everything's quite quiet. Especially like the kick. It's very just like it's like somebody is very timid. Okay, so here's some advice for you. You can see your side chaining, right? And when you think about side chaining, what are you doing? You are making room for the kick drum, basically, more or less. But your kick drum is oh god, I'm on the blue pen. Oof. I just got blue pilled, whatever that means. Your kick is like this. That is the size of your kick, right? And now I'm going to switch to the blue pen. But your side chain is like this. So you've got kind of this, I'm going to switch to the black pen. I'm going to switch to the custom pen. Yeah, green. You got all this wasted loudness, basically, right? You got this big side chain. It's very deep. It's very long. You know, it's girthy. But your kick, it doesn't really justify its existence. You got this tiny little flabby kick. It's not a good kick. The musical stuff is really good. The almost, it sounds like a vocal thing kind of. That's really cool. There's a lot of really cool harmonic elements here. But your tiny kick and the okay, so does it get bigger at some point? Well, regardless, even if it gets bigger at some point, in this section, the side chaining implies the existence of a large kick, but the large kick does not exist. So I guess that's what I'm getting at. I guess it doesn't have to be any more complicated than that. There's some dissonance happening in a mosquito? What? It's too cold for that. There's some dissonance happening in your sub range. Let me listen. So you got this big impact, but you still have a sub bass chugging along. So as that impact sound swoops down, you still got this sub bass. And now you have two sub basses playing different notes, and it's blah, 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 blah. It's doing that. And then every once in a while, right there, it sounds like it slides down to the next note, but there's something else. Is there two basses happening? There's something every once in a while causing like the bottom end to get rumbly, and then it stabilizes again. And I feel like see, there's that impact again. So do you know what I mean? Like if we go to Paint and we open up the stream file. So if this is your song, and this is like frequency up and down, and this is the time as it's going across, you've got kind of like your sub bass, and it's playing its different chord, like this is like one note and it plays another note. Well, that's fine. But then you also have this, and it's crossing over the bass and doing somebody else had 192 kilobits per second today, but I didn't get it. It's not an EQ thing. It's a sub separation thing. If you're going to do ooh, you're going to do the big ooh impact thing, you kind of can't have sub bass chugging along underneath that, or else they're going to interact and phase with each other. I also have I have a feeling that you might have more than one bass contributing to the bottom end. And that's not really going to work out well either. The sub bass section is one of the few things in the track where you can there are some rules to follow. And the rules are that there should only be one sub bass thing, you know, like if you have a chord that has sub bass in it because you're playing a low note in that chord and that low note is contributing to the sub bass, you should high pass that and replace it with your sub bass, or don't have a sub bass and have the chord supply the sub bass. But you can't do both because then you get weird phasing in and out of the low frequencies. I have a video on my YouTube channel called Sub Separation, and you can watch that for more explanation. But you may already know what I'm talking about. This part is sick. This is dope. I kind of wish we didn't have to wait a minute and 40 seconds to sub bass drop. Yeah. So like you should have your kick and you should have your sub bass. Those are kind of the two elements that really should be contributing to the sub bass. And then because of the side chaining, you only ever have the kick or the sub bass. You don't have both, right? Because they're getting out of each other's ways. But if you have multiple elements that are contributing to the sub bass and not playing the exact frequency at the exact phase, you're going to have issues of rumbling and the sub bass is loud, then it's quiet, then it's loud and quiet and loud, like it's coming in and out. And that's what sub bass separation is for. This right here is a dope section. I don't think a minute and 40 of this is worth listening to be honest. I mean, it's cool. There's lots of cool stuff happening, but it's kind of like a lot of waiting, you know? There's not quite enough stuff there to hold my attention for almost 2 minutes before we get to this. It's sick. You know, it's a little sub heavy. It's maybe a little cluttery, but this part is truly really good. But we waited almost 2 minutes and then it lasts 30 seconds. And that's not a good return on investment. If I'm investing almost 2 minutes into what this drop is going to be, I want it to hit for a while, you know? I want it to elaborate. I want it to carry me for a while. And I feel like you built us up for way too long. Honestly, what's the tempo? Tell me the tempo and then I'll cut it. Or I can probably just figure it out before you even answer me. It's like fucking, was it what is it? Why can't I figure out this tempo? $124, really? It feels slower than that. It is not 124. I can figure it out. I'm just being dumb. I'm a little rusty. Let's do it this way. This will be easier. 170, shut up. Oh, okay, hold on. This is the actual downbeat right here. Okay. It's it's either 114 or 115. It's 114. All right, we all learned something here today. All right, so let's see what we can cut out. 114. So right here, there's like some messiness in the sub bass. Right here, it sounds like there's two different bass notes happening at the same time. So let's try cutting this out and let's like fucking. I almost feel like I don't know, because you kind of you switch the chord progression up to this like alternate thing that builds tension, which I like. I just think you got to get there a little sooner, but I'm not exactly sure how to do it. I just know that there's not quite enough elements here to justify all of this existence. Yeah, I mean, like first of all, it's First of all, it's like 114 beats per minute. So it's already kind of moving along at a slow pace because of that. And if you think about what you're delivering on all this time, it's mostly like ambience and vibe. There's no real melody to speak of. You know what I mean? Like it's mostly like you're building a vibe. You're establishing some of the cool sounds, the chords, but there's no real like melody happening until dun 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 dun. That's your melody, right? But for 1 minute and 40 seconds, you're just kind of like there's side chaining ambience. You know, there's world building, you know, which is all important stuff, but it's you're spending too long developing this vibe and not putting something in the vibe, meaning maybe a beat, maybe a melody, you know. Okay, let's check out the second part. You're also, I think, using the doom too often, you know, like it becomes kind of overused when I would probably try to only use it maybe once. Again, the sub bass here, it's kind of not playing the right note or something. See, like every once in a while you'll like walk the bass around and it doesn't, I don't know if it's really working because it's conflicting with something else down in that area. There's the chords. See, like sometimes you move the chords up, but the bass stays. And then sometimes the bass moves up, but the chords stay. Sometimes I think you got to do an audit of all of your MIDI channels and be like, oh shit, I didn't move that up or whatever, right? But see, I am clicking to the next section because I'm not patient enough to sit through long enough to get to the next section. There's not enough in here. It's the drop section is great. It's dope. It's sick. That part is sick. The rest of the track just feels underdeveloped. It just doesn't feel like there's enough stuff happening. It just kind of feels like we're in this like ambient purgatory waiting for the drop to happen, you know? It's not necessarily bad sounding. It's just there's just not enough stuff happening to kind of justify its existence, which I think I've already said verbatim. And did I hear the boom again? Yeah, the impact's there, and that's a big no-no too, because you have the kick, you have the sub bass, and now you also have a swooping boom, and it's all mixing in the bottom end and equaling rumbleness. So I think overall, without going too in depth on this, I think what you should do is listen to some tracks that inspire you in this style, and try to figure out how to get more in the non-drop sections to get us excited for the drops. And there are definitely ways to do it. I thought I might be able to cut and move, but I don't think there's enough here to do that with. I think your drop sounds dope. I think you should focus on building the song around the drop section and getting to the drop a little bit quicker. And yeah, feel free to fuck with it and send it next Friday. I will be here. All right, let's move on. Acid Conduit. Oh boy, that is a transient. Here we go. I mean, like, I accidentally mastered the shit out of it, but it sounded good. Okay, so this is sick. What it's missing is the sub range. You have everything except the sub bass, you know? Like it needs... Oh, it's in C. For fuck's sake, sorry, one sec. Everything is dope except the lack of sub bass. There's no sub bass. There's the techno rumble kind of that, but like I need that the depth, the bottom, the anchor, you know? And there's lots of ways to do it. C is kind of a challenging key, but we might be able to do it. I'm going to do this real quick. I am seriously running out of time, but I will. We're just going to play a C. Oh, with the pattern 6. There we go. Let's see what happens. And I'm going to have to turn this. Yeah, even just having like a sustained C that's pumping with the kick drum is probably going to work out better than what's there. Yeah, like that gives me that final like resolution, right? Or maybe if the kick drum just had a longer tail that was really deep. This is a dope techno track. It's very good, but it's just missing the bottom. I wish you could lock the... If you're not listening with like headphones or whatever, you're not going to hear this, but and if you were able to push it up to D, all of a sudden we get it's much better. You know, because C is really hard to get it to come through. Anyway, that's what I think. I think it's dope, and I think it needs more balls, for lack of a better word. All right, let's check this out without destroying the speakers. Oy. Oh, God. Come on. We're going to speed run the last few. Okay, this one's called Hate Me Remix Loud. What is this?
Should be drinking no lean, I'm already half dead. Give a fuck, I'm a gangsta. Yeah.
I deleted it.
Come on. Yeah. Come on. Where they kicking my blood with no brand, yeah. If I face me another, I die here. I'm just praying I make it till Friday. Either way, I'ma down my pride. Fell in love with the color and parked out front. Bitch, wait till you see the garage. I done made me a promise, I fight that once. This time I'ma leave with the guy. On God, I ain't played by nothing once. When it's game time, took it clutch. First thing in the morning, blunt. First thing in the morning, I jump off the porch and hit straight to the porch. Get the driving like somebody chasing. Rockin' cause I can't afford it, my pockets are long.
Okay, this is what I think. I think this is dope, but I think that the vocals feel like an afterthought. They don't feel like the main element, and they should, you know? Like you got to be more selective with when and how you implement these crazy upfront sounds. Like this right here, when this happens, this section, the vocals might as well not be there. You know what I mean? Like you got this wall of sound, and then the vocals are competing with this wall of sound. It's just, I think if for this style of music, you have to be very picky with how and when you use certain things, because the vocals, if you got vocals in a track, they should be the main thing, especially when it's more than just like, you know, like a line before the drop or whatever. So maybe take the vocals out, do the big loud thing, take the loud thing out, put the vocals back in, you know, like have them trade off as opposed to trying to just have them run on top of each other.
2 times for the house, they hate me. 3 times for the house, they hate me. 3, 5 in the blood, I'm spacing. Photos of the left, she's spacious. I don't know if it's smart, I stay here. I don't know if I want that Maybach. I don't know if I find my way back. I ain't never gonna buy my way in. I ain't never gonna bow to no man. I don't care who the fuck you came with. I don't care what the fuck your name is. Like I didn't yet hit it, not the real way. How about that?
This part's dope. And like, you pretty much took the vocals out. They're still kind of in there, but like you could just take the vocals out entirely. And then at the end of like each measure, have a little bit of vocal and then go back to the instrumental. That's what I'm talking about. Trying to like find sections for individual things to let them shine. And then, you know, go back and forth. Like right there. You could have vocals. You could have vocals right there. You know, that's what I'm trying to get across. Let's keep it. I'm assuming that the vocals are the only thing from the original, and if that's the case, I would just not make this a remix. Just like make it your own track, and then maybe get a vocalist on it and write the track around the vocals, or write the vocals around the track. To me, the biggest thing with this one is just that the vocals just feel like a background loop. The intro and the outro are the original.
No, Lena, I'm already happy. Yeah.
Okay, but when it gets to like the crazy shit, is that just the vocals? The vocals are the only element. Yeah, dude, like all that shit's fucking dope. To me, it feels like, and I'm not saying this is what happened, but what it feels like to me is you made an incredible, cool sounding track, and then you just were like, I'm going to put this other song on it. And then you like put the other song on it. That's what it comes across to me. It sounds like you made like a dope instrumental, and then you're like, let's make this a remix. The other way around. Well, fuck, then if I were you, I'd treat the remix as like the nucleation site that got you here, and then just fucking pull all the remix shit out and make it your own track. That's what I would do, because the weakest part of this is the remix of it. You know, all the beat and shit is fucking sick. It's like it kind of feels shoehorned in there. Like, here, vocals, you know, put it in there somewhere.
I'm right there next to you. Damn. Drive, move, hook, my legs near rim. Damn. I really can count this backseat. I know all of my ex-house miss me. I was 15, put a whole 16. I'm gonna...
Yeah, because, like, to me, if I think about that section without the vocals, I wouldn't probably complain about anything. But right now, I'm like, the vocals are like competing against this massive wall of waveform, you know?
Wrestling. And my mouth diamonds look like a cufflink. My bitch and ODG free BG.
I'm sorry for skipping around. I really am running out of time.
You work on my head, it's the ponies. Fuck open his ass, he gon' sue me. I fuck up fast and real. Sit tight like I don't wanna be up. When we catch riot, if I face me in the...
Yeah. If I were you, that's what I'd do. You are you, though, so do whatever you want. But if I were you, I'd say fuck the original. This track is too cool to be a remix, and then just try to write it as your own track. That's what I got to say. Let's check out Kadia's track, "When You See the Moon." Well, let's have a listen.
Can feel it in the air.
I probably have like maybe a crash or something here. It kind of feels like a bit of a vacuum on that downbeat.
I can feel it in the...
And maybe have a reverse cymbal into a cymbal. Don't use the same cymbal though. Or if you, well, you can, but I wouldn't. Because to me, it's all very cool, but it almost feels like you made a section and then you like transplanted another section. It doesn't flow into the next section that great. So even just, I could just do it and show you it. One sec. I'm gonna use the same sample just because I said I shouldn't. Actually, no, I'm not. No, for fuck's sakes. Yeah, all right. Okay, let's find that spot. You kind of you do have like a reverse thing happening. It sounds like a musical element though. Let's just see if what this does. I mean, it already kind of sounds better.
I can feel it.
Yeah, see, just something like that. Doesn't have to be complicated.
I can feel it.
And I wonder, like, maybe a little bit of a kick, just like a little kick, not like a big, like, holy fuck, what a kick, you know?
I can feel it in the air. A new way.
One last thing. Let me try one more thing. I go down to this kicks. What is it? V. Oh man, it's been so long. Yeah, let's try an impact. Let's see what it sounds like with an impact. Turn it down a bit. Okay.
I can feel it in the air. A new age is upon us, and all it took to get us there was every broken promise. Voices of the ones you've wronged.
Okay, so this is sounding, I think you've sent this before. I think this is sounding quite a bit better. I would dry out the vocals a little bit. I think the vocals are a bit too soaked in reverb.
Voices of the ones you've wronged, rising like a chorus. In your quest to burn each bridge, you burn down the whole forest. The goddess of the hunt has come. The hounds have got you on the run. The truth is an arrow piercing your heart. When you see the moon shining down on
wonder if this first time, I'm not sure what's going to happen later on in the track, but I almost feel like you might just do this once.
Better days are
And obviously figure out how to, hold on.
better days.
I'm not sure if this is the right move or not, but it was kind of my initial thought was, I don't think it should do that twice, at least the first time.
Better days are coming now, and you won't.
You get the idea. I'm not cutting it right, but I don't know. I'd try it, see if you like it. Just because I think if you're gonna do that again, maybe do it the other way, because you only do it once here. Maybe do it twice at the end, once at the first. You know, leave a little bit to the imagination, and then send it for the last one. But I don't know, something to think about.
Days are coming now, and you won't be a part of it. All you do is scream and shout, pretending like we
I'd turn this
all you
down a little bit. It's a bit like out of nowhere, you know, like I like it. I just think it's a bit loud. Everything else is kind of like in its spot. And then all of a sudden we get this like, whoop. So I think I'd maybe turn it down a bit.
Hunter's flashing arrow will bring you down. When you see the moon shining down on you, she'll expose the shadows you've hidden from view. When you see the sun shine on everyone, they will see the truth of what you've been all along.
I think we're missing like symbols. Oh no, there is one there. I think reverse symbols. I don't know if you've used reverse symbols in this at all. And I think reverse symbols, they don't have to be super obvious, but like they just really smooth out sections like that. Like if I just, I don't know why I deleted that. I probably should have just kept it in the project, but whatever. Sure. Let's just try this. It's subtle, but it makes a big difference usually, right? If we just do like this sort of thing. There. That is a terrible sounding crash. That is a terrible sounding ride. Sure. Yeah, like that to me sounds quite a bit better. I keep doing that same fucking like zoom out thing. Versus. Yeah. So you did do it twice the last time. I see. I think I'd only do it once in their first chorus, and I know maybe that's going to cut the length down too far. Maybe not. I don't know. It's kind of up to you. It's not like a deal breaker either way. It's just personal preference. I probably wouldn't do it twice the first time. Now, you were more looking for feedback on the intro and first verse, I think you said. So. I would maybe see if you could figure out how to cut this in half too. You know, for a pop song. Oh. Hold on. Figure out what. My back teeth are floating. Those hi-hats in the first verse. Okay, okay. Oh, that's pretty close. Okay, so it's twice 70 to 100 and 145? Let me see. Let's just see if this trick, I use this in my TV world quite a bit. Obviously, like the filter, you got to fix that. But I just basically cut out the middle two. And so we get the first of the first and the second of the second.
I can feel it in the air. A new age is upon us. And all it took to get us there was every broken promise. Voices of the ones you've wronged.
So are you talking about the like the trap hi-hats at the start here?
In the air, a new age is upon us.
Okay. I would maybe, I mean, like, they didn't stick out to me initially. So I don't think they're maybe as bad as you think they are, but what would be, I don't know. You might be better off with a loop as opposed to individual samples.
I can feel it in the air, a new.
Let's try this at half speed.
I can feel it in the air, a new age. I can feel it. I can feel it in the air, a new age is upon us. And all it took to get us there. I can feel it in the air, a new age is upon us. And all it took to get us there was every broken promise. Voices, I can feel it in the air, a new age is upon us. And all it took to get us, I can feel it.
Yeah, I think the problem maybe is that they're trying too hard to be like trap kind of hi-hats or whatever. I think that might be the issue. And sometimes it's better to find like a cool loop that has some stuff in it.
I can feel it in the air, a new. I can feel it in the air, a new age is upon us. And all it took.
Because now all of a sudden, these hi-hats are not drawing very much attention to themselves. They're a bit more consistent. They're a bit more groovy. They're less kind of attacking, I don't know if that makes sense to you, but like I'm not now listening to the hi-hats. They're just kind of providing a groove, as opposed to when you're trying to like program in individual hi-hats, sometimes they draw too much attention to themselves. It's not to say that you couldn't program a pattern that would work, but I think you might be maybe overcomplicating the hats when just a simple, like a loop like this is all you need, and maybe that's the thing. Maybe you should go try to find some percussive loops, because it's really hard to emulate the groove and the nuances of somebody actually playing a percussive instrument. There's all kinds of little nuanced sounds in between the hits and stuff that you're not going to get by programming in individual samples, right? Especially if it's the same sample that you just kind of like, Anyway, Crates and Breaks. Look up Crates and Breaks. You can buy it yourself. I think it might be a Wave Alchemy thing. I don't really remember, to be honest, but if you search Crates and Breaks loops, I'm sure you'll find it. Okay. Yeah, that's what it's called, Crates and Breaks. Let's see. Crates and Breaks. Prime Loops, Crates and Breaks. Here you go. 17 great British pounds, and you can have it's got all kinds of good stuff in it. I use this shit all the time. Cut it up, make your own samples out of it, all kinds of good stuff. So yeah, go grab that. Okay. I think that's what I got to say. I think those are my thoughts, and I think that's going to help you with your hi-hats. But it sounded really good. I remember when you first sent it, and this is miles above. So good job. All right. Getting down there. What do we got? Tom Dune. That's a new name, I think. All You Need Is Me. That's not true. I also need to eat and pee.
Would you hold me on the come down?
Oh my good fucking God. Sorry, I screwed something up. I had the high end just blasted for some reason.
Would you hold me on the come down? Liquor burning on your sweet mouth. Say you'll never let me go now. Oh, if you come.
We got a new submitter. I'm pretty sure Tom Dune is a new submitter, but that doesn't mean that he is not going to get the proper treatment for his 124 kilobits per second submission. Tom, I love you. This sounds like a cool track, but if I don't publicly shame people for sending in low bit rate, you'll be joining many other people who have sent in low bit rate submissions, and now you are forever part of this paint file. Okay, let's keep listening.
Would you hold me on the come down? Liquor burning on your sweet mouth. Say you'll never let me go now. Oh, if you come with me, I'll show you places you've never seen. Take my hand and lead. Follow the stars, tell me where.
I'm having the worst leg cramp of my life. Holy fuck. I think the low bit rate just caused my leg to cramp up, or maybe dehydration. It's hard to say.
Come with me, I'll show you places you've never seen. Take my hand and lead. Follow the stars, tell me where they lead. We can dance underneath the moonlight. Got our hearts tangled in the twilight. If you stay, you'll see. To see the world I need to see.
Yeah, honestly, this is dope. I mean, it's for 124 kilobits per second, it sounds pretty good. Like, I don't think I have any feedback yet.
Would you
I mean, I skipped this section, but it's mostly because I have to pee and I'm running out of time.
Would you promise me forever? Take my hand and make it better. Burning deeper than the embers. Oh. Blinded only by the future. Only wanna be where you were. Promise me I'll never lose you. Oh. If you come with me, I'll show you places you've never seen. Take my hand.
Okay, the vocals are getting drowned out in the builds. That's my feedback for you. When you're building up, things are getting all loud and exciting, but the vocals are still chugging along at the same volume, and they're getting buried. Like Kadia said, it's in the build up. So I would sacrifice a little bit of volume in your buildups, which is fine because you don't really want full volume in your buildups. I'd bring the buildups down so the vocals can cut through. And then when we build up to the drop, boom, the drop's nice and loud. I also I'd be interested, I don't dislike the clap, but I'd be interested to see what it sounded like with a tight snare instead of a clap. Yeah, it's dope, dude. Good job. Except for the exporting. You sucked at exporting it, but you did great at writing and producing it. So next time, export it as a 320 and I won't have to put you on the wall of shame. Turn the build-ups down so the vocals can cut through. Cool. 2 more, and then I get to relieve my bladder. Down master.
Walking on
Wow, these two songs could have been like on an album together. I think I would maybe try to get some more percussive stuff going before the drop, because I was like taken off guard that it was drum and bass. I think that having like even just a like building up to it so that, oh, it's fucking drum and bass, you know? I don't think we should be surprised by that. Yeah, that was all super dope. I think that this breakdown is a little premature. I think this drop should keep going. I think you should elaborate on it. Have a B section of the drop. It's just, again, and this is feedback I give a lot. Maybe it's just me, but I think breakdowns are used a little too freely and a little too frequently. I think a breakdown is a big deal to break the track down, right? And it's a big drop in energy. It's going to totally remove the energy from the track. That's the idea. But if you're using it right off the hop after we rocked out for 28 to less than 20 seconds. We rocked out for less than 20 seconds. We don't deserve a breakdown yet. We're not sweaty enough yet. Yeah, especially like okay, so think about this. You did 28 seconds of build up, 28 seconds of drop, and now we're about to sit through about a full minute of more build up, right? And I'm not saying this build up and this breakdown is bad. It could work really well over here somewhere after we're sweaty and tired. Is it 174? Can I make an assumption here? $172. Way to break the mold. All right. Let me try something here. Hold on, sorry. Could that be the B section? You know? Maybe. And then you're probably thinking, fuck, now I got a lot more work to do, you know? But that's the whole point, isn't it? Let's see. Let's listen to it from the start of the drum. I think maybe this fake out is kind of fucking it up a bit. Maybe without that fake out, I don't know. I'm not saying it will work or won't work, but I just think that the first drop is too short. I don't want to fall for you is the word, I think the important words. Yeah, honestly, it's dope, dude. I think you've got a lot of great stuff here. I think making that first drop longer and keeping in mind like how the ratio of the stuff we're waiting for and the stuff we're waiting in, I guess, like we're waiting through the breakdown, waiting through the build up, and now here we are at the thing that we're at. Yeah, keeping that in mind. Okay, cool. Last one of the day. Let's check. Wrong one. There we go. Near do well. You find love here. Here we go.
Ne'er do well.
You're never gonna change. I'm not gonna tell you anymore. You're sick, twisted, lost. Will you ever see? I don't ever want to see you again.
Yeah, this is spooky and good. I like this a lot. I wonder on the clap or, clap or snare, the clap, right? I think, what would it be like if it had a snare underneath that had a bit of a poomp, poom, like a hit? Because we get the kick and we get the sub bass, but there's no real other like meat in terms of like punchiness. There's no other punches happening. So I wonder if you just had a snare underneath. Let me figure out what the tempo is. You guys have no idea how fucking bad I gotta pee. Holy shit. Oops. Stop doing the things that I don't want you to do. Sure, we'll go with that. Okay, thank God. It's kind of like a dubstep kind of thing, isn't it? Wow, it's 140. Crazy, eh? What's up, Lil Roy? All right, let's throw a snare underneath that. Let's do baby making snare just because. Why not? I don't think it's gonna have enough punch. We'll try it. I'll do things to it, I guess. Actually, it sounds pretty good. It sounds pretty good as is. See what I mean? Like it balances. It goes kick, snare, kick, snare, and without it, it kind of goes kick, kick, kick. Like it's kind of missing the thing. That it's missing a punch to balance out the kick. So I think having a snare that has a bit of, punch to it would help a lot. That kind of works too good. Like I'm actually quite surprised that just throwing that on top works that well. I'm feeling last night like mate. It starts at 6 a.m. doing it a little bit. Oh, sorry. I'm gonna sit down and just bang out a bunch of the submission threads. I've just been busy, but I know I kind of opened it last minute. This is cool though. I think you're gonna have to make it a little longer. It's a little brief. I'm not sure exactly how to do that, but I think my gift to you today before I leave and pee is try layering a snare. Maybe not that snare, Maybe don't layer a snare, but try it and maybe you'll like it. Okay, that's all I got for you guys today. Thank you for hanging out with me, and this is me. I love you very much. I hope you have a good weekend. I will see you next week. I will be doing this every week from now on, because I'm not all better, but I'm like 90% better. So, okay, I'm gonna go pee real quick. Have a great weekend. I will talk to you later. I love you. Bye.